Hey guys, Nate the Film Nerd here, doing a different type of video today. I'm going to be doing a short reaction video to the Critical Drinker's latest review of Predator: Killer of Killers. The reason I'm doing this is because the last video I did on my channel was a review of the same movie, which I'll link in the description below for anyone who hasn't seen it. But yeah, the Critical Drinker, kind of a somewhat of a controversial YouTube reviewer, depending on who you ask. He has a huge following. A lot of people love him. A lot of people don't. I've seen some of his reviews in the past, and I've seen some reviews where I have agreed with him, like his kind of take on a lot of the Disney Star Wars stuff, especially like the last few Star Wars movies, like The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, which were terrible. He also thought they were terrible. I agreed with a lot of his takes on that. And then I've also seen reviews of his where I completely disagree with movies like Blade Runner 2049 and Creed, movies that I think are fantastic, that he thinks are either kind of lackluster or outright bad. But hey, you know what? Opinions vary, and I'm curious to hear his take on Predator: Killer of Killers, which he entitled A Great Idea Wasted. I thought the movie was actually quite good. In fact, I think it's one of the better, if not one of the best, Predator sequels overall. So I'm just going to be reacting to his review, and I haven't seen it, so let's see. Let's see what he has to say.
You know, seeing your favourite franchise fall into the hands of Disney is a bit like seeing the corpse of your beloved Gran fall into the hands of Ed Gein. You know they're going to do something horrible to it, it's just a matter of time. Case in point, Predator: Killer of Killers, an animated movie from the mind of Dan Trachtenberg, who's rapidly becoming to the Predator franchise what Dave Filoni is to Star Wars.
I know Disney has bought a ton of rights to a bunch of stuff in relation to Marvel and Star Wars and, you know, now the Predator and Alien franchises. And yeah, I think Disney deserves a fair amount of criticism, especially in terms of what they've been doing with Star Wars recently. Just a lot of lame stuff has been coming out of Star Wars, with the exception of Andor, which I still haven't seen, that a lot of people have, that they really love, but I've kind of lost interest in Disney Star Wars. I think the last thing I watched was the second season of The Mandalorian, and then I kind of fell out of it. It's just a lot of quantity over quality is kind of the Disney thing that's been happening recently. And then all of their freaking remakes that they've been doing to death, pointless remakes, like the Lilo and Stitch thing that just came out recently. It's like, why do they keep doing that? Because it keeps making money. People keep going to see it, so they're going to continue to do it. But in the case of the latest stuff that's been coming out with both Predator and the Alien franchise, I really enjoyed Alien Romulus. I know some people didn't. And then as far as like the Predator stuff, I absolutely loved Prey and Killer of Killers. So far, you know, just as long as Disney has the right people involved with their projects, it doesn't mean that everything they're going to do is going to be inherently bad. Although I will admit, a lot of the stuff they've been putting out recently has been more miss than hit recently. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everything they're going to do in the future is going to be terrible. And I think it's important to go in with kind of an open mind with stuff, not try to have like your own mind made up. Just, oh, it's a Disney thing, so it's automatically going to suck. I feel like that's kind of the mentality that the Critical Drinker has about anything Disney related. It's like, oh, it's just going to suck, so I'll watch it, and then he already has his mind made up, kind of. I try to be more open-minded with things, but I do understand the Disney criticism, but let's see where it goes from here.
Anyway, the best way I can describe Killer of Killers is that it takes the old "wouldn't it be cool to see a Predator fight a insert interesting historical warrior here" idea and makes that the basis for its entire plot. The result is a kind of anthology movie based around a trio of short stories with a big finale event to tie them all together. It's a neat idea in theory, but it's also a good example of the concept being better than the execution. Two of the short stories are actually pretty decent, showcasing interesting characters in novel settings. The third is a bit goofy and over the top, and the finale kind of makes me wish the whole movie...
What makes... So the third one, the World War II fighter pilot one, that one's goofy and over the top. How is that one any more over the top than the previous two stories? In fact, that one really stands out. I mean, I enjoyed all three stories for various reasons. The World War II one really stood out because we've never seen that ever in any of the Predator movies. A piloting Predator who has like his own aircraft thing. I thought that was really, really neat, and the type of gadgets he was using. Like, so what makes that any more over the top than the previous ones? It didn't feel out of place, and it's an animated movie, so it's really taking advantage of like stuff like a really ambitious sequences, especially in that scene where it really stands out because we've never seen anything like it. So, okay, disagree with that one. I don't see what makes that one any more over the top than the previous two.
Hadn't even happened. But to explain it better, I'm going to have to delve into
what did he say at the end there?
Novel settings. The third is a bit goofy and over the top, and the finale kind of makes me wish the whole movie hadn't even happened.
Wow.
But to explain it better, I'm going to have to
really
delve
hated
into
the finale.
each of the stories, so allow me to illuminate you. The movie kicks off with a group of Viking warriors on a revenge mission against a rival tribe, naturally led by a female warlord named Ursa, because everyone knows that they make for the best soldiers in medieval warfare.
This is one of the reasons why I stopped watching Critical Drinker. It got to a point where it's like, you kind of know what he's going to say about something before you even watch the video, and he just fell into this thing. Anytime a female lead in an action movie happens, it automatically means it's bad or it's a girl boss thing. And look, this is something that I think needs to be taken by a case-by-case basis. You know what I mean? I don't think you can say that anytime a female action lead is in a movie that automatically equates to, a lame girl boss moment. I assume that's what he's going to elaborate on because I've seen his videos before. Have there been bad or lame female action protagonists in movies? Absolutely. We can also say the same thing about male action protagonists as well. So once again, this is something that needs to be taken by a case-by-case basis. In the case of Killer of Killers, in my opinion, the movie doesn't really make too much of a big deal about Ursa's character being a female. It's not like a central thing to the movie. It's just that's the type of character in that story. And it works perfectly fine in that story. And I think that's kind of a callback to Prey. We're mixing it up. We've seen primarily men going up against predators in a lot of the movies, and some women as well. And the last movie that Dan Trachtenberg did with Prey, we had a female Native American warrior. And now we have a Viking one. I don't really see what the problem is. I've seen action movies with lame female action characters, and I've seen the same thing with male action characters. And so it's kind of unfortunate that Critical Drinker kind of gets into the line of thinking of, anytime we see a female person in a movie, in an action movie, in the lead, it's so unrealistic because, women, and it's just like, dude, you got to get past that. It's really a lame critique at this point.
What can I say? It's a Disney movie. Of course they had to have a girl boss at the center of everything.
See what I said?
Anyway, Ursa and her mates accomplish their mission with great vengeance and furious anger, but it turns out that the real battle's just beginning when a big burly predator decides to have a go at them. What follows is a brutal hand-to-hand fight to the death, with Ursa having to use both strength and cunning to outsmart and outfight her enemy. The second story's set in feudal Japan, where
so that's kind of the Predator thing. That's part of the formula, is that you can never beat a predator with pure strength. You have to outwit them. And that's what made the first Predator so great, is that you have these men who are huge and masculine and they're deadly warriors and they have giant machine guns and stuff. And it's like, well, that's not going to do it. You got to be smarter than that. So Arnie painting himself in mud to conceal his body heat and using booby traps, and that's the Predator way. And I thought the way that Ursa did it in the anthology here in Killer of Killers was really neat. The way she kind of tricks the Predator in going to underwater and uses the gadget against him to propel him in to that anchor thing that sticks out the back of his head. It's pretty cool.
Where a Ronin named Kiyoshi is out to kill his estranged brother after a childhood confrontation that drove them apart years earlier. Again, there's a decent bit of action and killing and some neat character moments between them, but just as the two men are facing off with each other, they're interrupted by a predator who decides this is his dojo now. But they're not about to put up with that shit, and so the two brothers have to put aside their differences and fight together to take it down.
Yeah, that's my favorite one,
set
actually.
During World War II, where a young pilot named Torres discovers that a predator ship is attacking the other aircraft in his squadron. A super advanced spaceship armed with particle beam weapons versus World War II fighter planes? Guess who comes out on top there? Anyway, Torres has to use his unconventional...
Is he giving this movie shit for being unrealistic? A Predator movie? Oh, the Predator movie wasn't realistic enough for me. Are we serious? This that's such a stupid critique. I mean, like the two previous stories, Torres uses his wit in order to outsmart the Predator in this advanced technology. It falls in the same line as the other two stories. It's no different in terms of a character outsmarting the Predator instead of using brute force, because that's not going to work. It's exactly like I said. So that's kind of a lame critique there. I accidentally hit my microphone. I'm getting too animated here.
Flying skills and some very quick thinking to take out the enemy before it kills any more of his men. And if that was where the movie ended, I would have been fairly happy with it. Yeah, the Torres story was kind of goofy.
Really?
And the action.
That's not the tone that you set before. Like you seem to be pretty underwhelmed by the movie up until this point, and then it's like, oh, it's the ending that really ruins it. Okay, well, I guess we'll see.
Scenes were so far outside the bounds of reality that it makes the Fast and the Furious franchise look like the pinnacle of gritty realism, but
Jesus Christ, we're talking about a Predator movie. Like, what realism are you expecting exactly? And an animated Predator movie, which means this is kind of like a good format, if you will, or a good art style in order to really accentuate certain aspects that we've never seen in other Predator movies before. So really big, elaborate action set pieces that would probably be too expensive to do in a movie, that they could do if they get a large enough budget. And so it's, of course, it's not going to be realistic. It's an animated Predator anthology movie. So what's the critique there? That you wish it was not as action-packed, that you wish it was more grounded in reality? Like, once again, what are we talking about here?
It followed through on its premise to explore different stories throughout human culture and history, and delivered a trilogy of neat little self-contained vignettes that don't outstay their welcome. Unfortunately, it doesn't end there. What we find out is that all three survivors were captured, put on ice for years or even centuries, and transported to the Predator homeworld, where they're expected to take part in a death match where the winner has to take on the king of the fucking Predators.
Fuck.
I mean, is it just me, or does this strike anyone else as being kind of unfair? Never mind the fact that
Unfair? What? I guess I don't really know what he's trying to say. Like, what makes that ending so bad? One of the reasons I really liked this movie is that it expands on the lore in a way that I've never seen before. Like I said, I've never read the comics. I played some of the Predator and Alien video games. But I'm not super knowledgeable about the lore of all of this stuff if it goes deep into like the comic books and stuff like that. But I've personally never seen the Predator home planet and how it operated and how there's like a leader of that planet. And I think that stuff's really neat because, once again, never seen that in any of the other Predator movies before. So I guess I need to wait and see if he elaborates more on why that's such a terrible, stupid idea. I thought it was pretty cool.
Humans are already at a massive disadvantage against predators who are bigger, stronger, more technologically advanced, and able to turn invisible. What's the reward for defeating one and actually living to talk about it? Well, they get abducted to the other side of the galaxy and forced to fight a bunch of other humans to the death, and if they somehow survive that, then they have to fight literally the biggest, strongest, and deadliest predator warrior in existence.
That doesn't seem fair.
What the fuck do you expect?
That's the critique? Is that it doesn't seem fair? How is it any more unfair than them going against the Predator before they went to that planet? Like our three characters. Like, it was unfair that we had a World War II pilot going against a super advanced airship. It was unfair that we had a ninja going against a Predator who had so much more technology and advancements in gear and weaponry than he did. And the same can be said for the Viking one as well. So what makes this one so much more unfair than the other previous situations that our characters find themselves in the previous stories? Like, I don't like, that's your critique, is that it's unfair. And what's great about the ending is that our three characters work together in order to escape from this unfair situation. Of course it's going to be unfair. That's kind of the Predator thing. It's unfair to go up against a Predator to begin with. It's unfair. So how is that a critique?
them to do. They don't even know where they are or what's going on. Primitive people like Ursa and Kiyoshi who don't understand about space travel and alien worlds would probably be so paralyzed with absolute terror that they wouldn't
Oh my god. He's getting like, this is what I call nitpicky criticism, where it's like he's ignoring the internal logic of the movie, and he's getting like, once again, this isn't realistic enough. In reality, somebody would be like catatonic with fear. And it's like, you could literally say that about any of the Predator movies. That if the second you saw a giant alien that looked as intimidating as a Predator, and you know what they're capable of, you saw the skinned body hanging upside down, you saw them, killing other people and stuff like that. And any person in reality would probably be catatonic with fear. But in those movies, it's fine. But in this movie, it's too unrealistic. What? Like, dude, we're talking about a Predator movie. Like, why are you getting so into, it's not realistic enough, these characters aren't behaving like a real person would? Well, you could say the same thing about all of the other characters that went up against Predators in previous movies. What the hell? This is ridiculous.
be able to think rationally, let alone fight. And I thought the whole point of Predators is that they're an honor-based culture. If you manage to fight and defeat one of them, the others will let you go because you've proven yourself worthy prey. I don't know, maybe these ones are secret assholes or something. And the scrappy trio learn to put aside their differences and work together to escape, even though they can't actually understand each other's languages. And then Torres magically knows how to fly a Predator spaceship so that the rest...
Well, that's not true. Torres knows a little bit of Japanese, not a lot, because of World War II and his experience there. So that's something that was established in the movie.
The plot can happen.
Right.
Yeah, what can I say, man? World War II fighter planes and super advanced spaceships are pretty much the same when you get right down to it, I guess.
Is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Yes, Billy
Also,
Madison.
I'm not exactly sure what he's supposed to do next when he's got no idea where they are or how to get back to Earth. Oh yeah, and even when they actually do escape, the Predators launch a fucking armada to hunt them down. So even though they actually won, defeated you, and got away, you're still gonna go after them anyway? I mean, is there literally any way for these humans to win? Or are these Predators just straight up assholes that refuse to take the L? I don't know, but it's kind of a shitty way to ruin a decent premise. Like I said earlier, I would have been...
It doesn't ruin the premise. It opens it up to more possibilities. The movie ends on a cliffhanger. We don't know where it's going to go, but clearly we're meant to get some sort of sequel or follow-up to this story. I think that's kind of the way the ending is meant to be interpreted. So who knows if our characters get away? The story isn't finished yet. So... I know some people don't like movies that end on cliffhangers. Me, I reserve my opinion on it until I see the next movie. And if the next movie is shit, then that does diminish the previous movie. And I hope that the next movie is good because I really liked this one. So,
happy for this movie to have been a proper anthology, either with no finale to tie the stories together, or for it to end on some kind of cliffhanger where the survivors wake up just as they arrive at the Predator homeworld, thus setting up a potential sequel. As it stands, the ending...
I mean, it does set up a potential sequel. I mean, you may not like the way they do it, but it does do that.
And poorly developed, and there's so much quippy, self-aware humor and implausible gravity-defying fight scenes that it feels more like a Marvel...
Jesus Christ! Once again, he keeps like, it's so illogical, the gravity in it's an animated movie! Like, that's part of, like, animated... Does he give Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Does he have the same critiques for that movie? This is unrealistic, the way they do time travel, and the way the Spider-Man jump in the air. It's like, that's unrealistic. Like, Jesus Christ, that's so absurd.
Movie than a Predator story. The plot armor here is also off the charts. I lost track of the number of times a Predator picks a main character up by the neck and just throws them across the room when it could easily kill them instantly, or characters surviving falls and impacts that should have absolutely shattered every bone in their...
This is CinemaSins level of nitpicky bullshit criticism.
Body, or Predators somehow forgetting how to fight the moment a tiny human leaps on their back and starts hitting them. Stuff like this is especially jarring and disappointing because the overall tone of the film is actually pretty serious, especially the first two stories that have strong character work and genuinely compelling dramatic moments. Yeah, you kind of have to look past the obligatory girl boss elements in Ursa's story, but beneath the...
No one has to look past that except for you, dude. Most people I know who have seen this movie were like, we're just like, yeah, she was a cool badass character, nothing more, nothing less. I don't understand why that automatically makes her a lame girl boss. Like, she was a interesting character with a surprisingly good backstory that made you sympathize with her and want to root for her. And sure, her abilities may be exaggerated because it's an animated movie. Everything is exaggerated in animation. That's kind of one of the things about animated movies. It gives them a little bit more excuses to get more over the top, more ambitious with the action sequences. So him holding on to that is really bizarre.
Typical modern day bullshit. There's actually a decent narrative about a traumatized woman sacrificing everything.
Yeah, so why can't you just focus on that? Like, she has a good backstory and she happens to kick ass. So what's the problem? It's not like the movie is shoving it down your throat that, oh, I'm a girl and she's surrounded by stupid men who can't get the job done and I have to do it because I'm a girl. Like, to me, that's a girl boss, bad action movie protagonist. This movie doesn't do that. It doesn't.
Until she's left with nothing to live for except to fight and die. The film also gives an insight into the Predator homeworld and expands on their culture and society, which I'm still not convinced is something I actually want to see, but there it is all the same. And if I was a cynical man, I'd say this was all about setting the stage for Predator Badlands when it comes out in November, which is going to focus heavily on Predator culture. Oh god, we're getting a Predator cinematic universe, aren't we?
I mean, didn't we kind of already have a Predator cinematic universe, like, prior to this, like with Predator 2 and, you know, Predators and The Predator? I know those movies were kind of disconnected, but, like, yeah, we were going to get Predator sequels, and wouldn't you want one that is kind of focused and the movies tying together a little bit better? Like, I know I would, and based on the Predator movies we've gotten recently, I'm looking forward to the franchise. You know, speaking for myself, I guess Critical Drinker isn't. Oh god, oh man, oh
Visually,
god.
At least I've got no issues with the film. The art style is decent, and although the animation looks a bit janky at times, it's still enjoyable to look at. The voice cast also does a perfectly good job, and it was nice to hear Michael Biehn make an appearance. Even
Yeah,
if
that's
he's
right, he
hopped
does
over
show
from a
up
different
in the movie.
franchise. You traitor, you. I think the movie's overestimating the popularity of Naru from Prey, though. A mid-credit stinger suggests that she's still alive and waiting to be brought back for future adventures, as if that's some mind-blowing revelation that fans are going to lose their minds over. If you really wanted to get people talking, the obvious choice would have been Dutch from the first movie. Like, imagine him coming back.
No, that wouldn't be the obvious choice because Arnold Schwarzenegger is pushing like 70 years old now. Could he show up in an animated thing? Maybe. We'll see. I'm a little iffy on that. But if they execute it well enough, that would be cool. I mean, the reason they picked, what's her name, Naru? From Prey is because that was the most recent movie. And she was a pretty cool character, and so I wouldn't mind seeing her in other Predator movies, or maybe if she comes back in animated form, that'd be kind of cool. So it's not that crazy of a leap that they chose that character, because that was the previous movie to this one. It ties the movies together. That's why they did it.
Back for the first time in 40 years with a bunch of other warriors from different centuries to turn the tables on the Predators.
Shut up and take my money.
Ultimately, Killer of Killers is a frustrating kind of movie where the idea is stronger than the reality. An inventive concept ruined by
Yeah,
sloppy
maybe it is to you because the movie isn't realistic enough. I need more realism in my Predator animated anthology movie.
execution and a cheesy finale that tries way too hard to set up the next product for consumption. And I guess
It
that's
doesn't
the real
try
point.
too hard. It just sets it up. Like, I don't understand what makes it so try hard than any other movie that ends on a cliffhanger. Like, it just opens up the possibilities for this franchise to go in a lot of different directions, which is kind of a good thing. In my opinion, I guess not to him, which, you know, whatever.
Problem here. Now that there's a flicker of life in the Predator and Alien franchises again, you just know that Disney are gonna milk that shit for all it's worth. Buckle
And that's
up, Predator fans.
and that's a fair criticism. Like, it's not too far of a leap to say that this would probably get to a point where, once again, if we see how Disney operates with Star Wars, quantity over quality, right? And it should be the other way around. And it's very possible that the Predator and Alien franchise under Disney could get to the point where it's like, all right, these ideas are starting to get more lackluster. This isn't really good. But, you know, just based on what we've gotten so far, and, you know, Alien Earth is coming out. And I saw that trailer and I thought it looked phenomenal. So far it's looking good. And I think it's okay to be optimistic about it because, at least from my perspective, what we've gotten so far has been quite enjoyable and leaves me excited to see where this can go in the future. But it's entirely possible that it could end up being, you know, like I said, quantity over quality.
Because the next few years are gonna be rough. Anyway,
Maybe for you.
That's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Okay. All right. Well, that went pretty much exactly how I thought it was going to go. Although it was weird how he kept harping on the realism of an animated movie. He actually said the way the characters, the way gravity works in this movie is unrealistic, and that's a critique against the movie. Wow, yeah. Obviously, he didn't like the movie. People don't have to like the movie. We can have a different opinions. It's just the critiques that he had against the movie felt kind of strange to me, and this is one of the reasons why I stopped watching The Critical Drinker. It's because he kind of ends up repeating the same talking points over and over again about girl bosses and Disney, and he keeps bitching about that, and I feel like that kind of like overshadows like the actual movie that he's talking about, and at times it can even misrepresent the movie that he's talking about. But you know, if he didn't like it, he didn't like it. That's fine. I don't have a problem with people not liking movies. I just have a problem with like certain types of criticism that just feels really nitpicky and doesn't actually dissect the movie in a way that feels like they should be doing. But I guess that's just my opinion on it. People can disagree with, I'm sure they will, but yeah. Yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on this review. Let me know what you guys thought about the Critical Drinkers review on this movie. Let me know what you thought about this movie in general, and mention it in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys for watching.